morning. Welcome to day 6 of making a sourdough starter from scratch. Our sourdough starter has made bread for us now as of yesterday, day number 5, when we made our dough and then baked it the same day. And our loaves were decent. I've made better whole wheat loaves before, but I'm still very happy with the whole wheat loaf for a day 5 starter. What we're doing today is baking these loaves that have come out of the refrigerator. I have the oven preheating right now at 450 degrees. I'm going to let it go for about 30 minutes while these are on the countertop coming to room temperature. I wanted to share with you just a little bit more about how to tell your dough is done. Yesterday, proofing that is, I told you yesterday and showed you how the dough is jiggly, how it has increased in volume, so you want it doubling or over doubling, and then also you should have those air bubbles on top. Another thing that you can do is the poke test, and I can show you that real quick with these. Okay, so here is the poke test. You just dip your finger in flour and you're going to poke down on the dough and see if it springs back fast, slow, or not at all. So let's see what ours does. It's slowly coming back. It will still leave like a small little indentation, but it should spring back some. That's bringing back much faster. I don't know if you can tell, the shadows on the video are kind of, let's see if you can see from like this way. You see it springing back? So it's springing back a little bit faster than this one. Let me see if I can do this one with a different shadow. That's much slower spring back. Slow spring back, good proof. The fast spring back means under proof, let it go longer. And the if it just presses in and stays in and doesn't spring back at all, then that means that it's overproofed, okay? And if it has turned to, like, if it's risen and fallen and you can kind of see it's like flat on top instead of domed, and it's like really looking liquidy and soupy, it's really overproofed. But honestly, I really go based off of time a lot. Like, I look at my dough and make some judgments off of that, but I really go off of my time, like thinking ahead to, okay, I've got dinner to do, or I've got this to do, and I'm not going to be able to make the bread. If it's within a 8 to 12 hour fermentation time, I bake it. But if you have like a really hot day, your kitchen is really warm, and it's only been 4 hours and you're seeing signs like your dough is risen up a lot, it has those air bubbles, it's jiggly, it's still domed, all that kind of thing, then you might want to bake it a little bit earlier. So generally that 8 to 12 hour rule is a pretty good rule. Let's get these in the oven. Let's start with my Dutch oven, which is the round one. Contrast, the whole wheat flour doesn't tend to show very much contrast on the with used whole wheat flour with it. So I'm just going to set that down. I'm going to I'm going to heavily flour the top. And now I'm cutting a score, popping it in here. Got that a little sideways. Now for my clay baker. This little basket is a little bit bigger than the clay baker, so it's not going to come out exactly perfectly. It'll be a little bit folded over on the side, but I've baked it like that many times. It's already okay. I'm going to use whole wheat flour for the all-purpose, so that it doesn't go in as much. It's always kind of scary when you take it out of the refrigerator because it's so much flatter than you want it to be, but the end product is nicely risen. All right, that one went in nicely. Got those loaves on for 40 minutes at 450 degrees. Then I'll take the lids off and give them 5 to 10 more minutes with the lid off. All right, let's feed our starter now. So again, the equal weights. This is what our starter is looking like on day 6. So remember what I told you is going to look more wet than it did yesterday. And look at that. It looks more wet. We have some really nice bubbles on the side. Smells just fine. So we're going to add, let's say, how much do I have here? This is about 1 cup, but that's with bubbles. I'm just going to do a half cup. So remember, the same amount of starter that you have or less of fresh flour. So half a cup of fresh flour. I'm going to go get a 1/4 a cup of water. So 1/4 a cup of water, give that a stir. It's not as thick as yesterday when I showed you, but it's definitely like a kind of like an English muffin batter, kind of. But again, through that fermentation process, there's going to be liquid made, so it's going to be more wet when I come back to it, and all that flour is going to really encourage the yeast activity. So there we have it. Day 6 is starter fed, bread's in the oven, waiting on that bread to come out to see how it comes out. I'm excited.
Now what our all-purpose bread looks like. It was really nice and amazing. And then we've got our dud. It's still gonna taste good. I think you can hear me on the video whenever I plopped it in. I'm like, oh, I plopped it in sideways. So I accidentally messed up its shape and tension whenever I plopped it in. So I kind of ruined that loaf by accident. But it's still going to taste really good. And you can see by all these bubbles on it that it's nicely fermented. See all these little crispy bubbles? That's a sign that your bread doughs are very nicely fermented. Together, this is what we had. This was yesterday's bake, and then this was today's bake. I would have expected my whole wheat sourdough that had been in the refrigerator to look more like this, okay? This is about what I would expect for an all-purpose whole wheat loaf. And then this is what I usually get with my all-purpose loaf. So they're going to come out really yummy though. But yep, got a little dead in there. That happens. Here is the all-purpose one from yesterday. This is the whole wheat bread from yesterday. I already started eating this one, but this is the one that I accidentally messed up whenever I put it in the oven. I broke its tension bubble. That is what it looks like. And not going to cut this one. I'm going to give it away to someone.
I'm cutting up bread now for our family. We're enjoying it. And all of it tastes good. Even the dud tastes very yummy. All right, until next time, I pray Yahweh will bless you and keep you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.